Ugh. What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and forgive my COVID face, but bettering it up, I have LFA veteran stepping into the LFA Octagon in a few short weeks. She's the one, the only, Kat Paprocki. Kat, what's going on?
Hello, hello. How are you today?
I'm doing good, man. I've been up. I've been watching some TV. I
Fine.
tried to play some video games, but I think I dropped my Xbox.
Oh no.
So,
How'd that
yeah,
happen?
but I got like one of the old ones. It's not one of the Xbox One fucking things,
Okay.
but it only exists. I play three games. It
Cool.
is whatever WWE offering it is,
Okay.
whatever UFC offering that is like every 3 years,
Okay.
and then Madden
Madden.
and NBA.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I buy it 3 years. So right now I'm on 2017 because I bought it on eBay for $1.99
That's
or at
smart.
GameStop.
Okay.
GameStop to the moon.
Okay.
So yeah, man.
Sweet.
So
Sweet.
so what's up? I know you're a couple weeks out from the fight. You might be aggravated by like weight cutting and everything like that. But if everybody follows you on social media like I do, and I encourage everyone to, you've been getting rounds with some pretty good competition. You've been traveling.
Yeah.
You've been traveling with your coach. Kind of a what is it? Valentina and Antonina Shevchenko thing, and I love it.
Yeah.
Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So talk to me about it.
Man, I am in a good place right now. I was supposed to fight August 27th, and
Oof.
that fight fell through. So honestly, like I'm just adding to a camp. Like I already had an incredible camp and now I get even extra time, right? So I feel great. I'm low. I'm eating really, really well. So I'm not grumpy. I'm not anything. I'm just chilling out. I'm hanging out. It's been great.
You know what's a fun little fact? Because again, you're stepping into the LFA Octagon, and yes, LFA has the trademark from the UFC to call their Octagon an Octagon, which
Yeah.
I think is cool. No one else, no one else, right?
Yeah.
Um, but the thing about it is, the last time we saw you in the LFA Octagon, you actually fought one of my friends,
Tiana.
Tiana
Yeah.
Vale Vale. And it's funny, I can't pronounce it. She's Hawaiian
Yeah.
and I'm Fijian, like half Fijian.
Okay.
So I should be able to pronounce those islander
You
names.
should.
But then you start sticking apostrophes, and then I get common English versus English Commonwealth. And it's
Yeah.
just this, eh.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually so when I went and trained in Las Vegas. I got to train over there and I sparred with her and I got to train and she is just the kindest human being I have ever met ever and I'm just like I love you. Like you're fantastic. And we shared a really awesome experience together. We put on a show for people and that crowd was in it and I just adore her. Like I find her awesome. But yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, right? Because there's a lot of conflict in the world. Political, religious, Afghanistan. Here we are on 9/11, and people have theories pro and con about that. How many countless, souls were lost fighting a war that ended up empty, and so all that being said, all that being said, if two people who beat the living shit out of each other
Yeah.
in a cage in nearly their underwear, right?
Yeah.
In front of people,
Yeah.
can't hug it out after the fight like you all so eloquently do. And that's no matter how many fights that I've attended live, no
Yeah.
matter how many fights I've seen on TV, that is my absolute favorite part.
Yeah.
Coaches, your opponents hugging, busted face, busted ears, busted
Yeah.
Yeah, all of that, and then you guys hug it out, and I'm like, that's like I almost want to scream out like what the world needs now is love, sweet love.
Right, right. I mean, I think that's the cool thing about being able to fight is like you love it, and that's what brings you both there. Like, I'm anti if I fought somebody who was like, I don't want to fight, right? Like, I'm not into that. But two people who are down to fight and they enjoy it, like, it's the coolest thing ever. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, I have a friend. He's a UFC veteran,
Okay.
Bellator veteran. He may have been on Dana White's Looking for a Fight,
Okay.
right? I'm not
Okay.
calling you out,
Okay.
but I'm also saying that Belize Day was September 10th, and he might be the Belizean warrior. Well,
Okay.
he did an interview with our mutual friend Amy Kaplan, formerly of Fansided, now with another publication. No, she's with Fansided now. She was with another publication before, right? But he said, as a bantamweight 135er, and we've got a bunch of them here in Southern California, especially the world over, right? He said he doesn't congregate with any 135ers because chances are
Yeah.
he could be fighting them. So that means he's training with either amateur 135ers
Yeah.
or larger or smaller opponents.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's a hard game to play. I even think in Colorado, as a female, we sometimes do that. Like, we're very weird about what females we're training with because you might fight later on. And for me, I'm kind of like training is something else. Like, it's a completely different thing to meet me in a cage. Like, you can train with me all you want, like, cool. But to actually have to like fight me is a whole other thing. So sometimes like I've met people who are like, oh, like I don't train over there. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just get training in? Right? Like, training is training. However, though, too, with that being said, right, you can get good training from anyone. So even training with someone who's like brand new, who's an amateur, like I can still get good training from that too. So in fairness, like there is a way to kind of be able to train anywhere.
Yeah, no, I like it, and that's the thing. And PETA might not like this statement, but there's different ways to skin a cat. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's extract that from the record. But what I will say is, and that might be total hyperbole, because this Belizean warrior might train with 135ers, right?
Yeah.
He's actually defending his title.
Ooh.
If you look at the Lights Out Extreme Fighting social media,
Okay.
it was announced that I believe it's October 30th
Sweet.
in LA.
Okay.
He will be facing none other than former deep bantamweight champion, trainee and disciple under the War Master Josh Barnett, one mongoose Victor Henry.
Okay. Okay.
Which is weird because I love both of those guys. They've both been on this podcast. I've interviewed them a ton,
Okay.
and I love their gyms. I love their coaches. I've been to their gyms. I've seen their coaches. Their coaches have been on this podcast, so I'm conflicted. But I also said after the August 14th event that I attended in LA,
Yep.
after 5 years of doing live shows, I think I might be retired. And they put out this fucking card, and I think I'm coming out. I mean, obviously, when it's safe to do so, negative tests and might get shots or what. Not that shot, because I'm not a photographer, and I also grew up in Inglewood. Different shot, but the vaccine or something. And it's not. It's here nor there, right? I've seen some of the shit that COVID can do to you. I thought I almost died 12 times.
12 times.
12 times.
That's a lot of times.
It's a lot. I can't even count that high, but I was just like, oh, aliens and devils. Oh.
That's rough.
Yeah.
So I only found out that I had COVID because I was supposed to fight April 30th for LFA. And I showed up on site and I tested positive. And so I had to be like quarantined and yada, yada, yada. But honestly, I would not have even known. And even after that, so I had to quarantine for 10 days. I felt great. Like I exercised every day. I ran 4 miles every day. It just didn't quite hit me the same as other people. So that's crazy.
Yeah, you know, and I was going to bring this up in terms of fight. You folks in Colorado, much like the folks in Mexico City, I think have an unnatural advantage. The fact that you guys are so high in elevation, which I feel is what helped you beat COVID. This is what has brought you your 3-1 record in professional MMA.
Sure.
And that's why I'm only doing a fucking 3-pound weight. And that's it. I'm fucking sweating profusely.
Well, I think you're killing it.
I hope so, man. I hope so. Because I've got a friend who grew up in Southern California. I think her and her husband and her family live in Maryland now. And at the time of her COVID diagnosis, she was living in Kansas. No one would diagnose her.
Really?
She's had it since, I want to say, the beginning of the year.
Oh, no.
She's still having the hallucinations. Still having the trouble breathing. And again, this is somebody who I talked to her husband pretty regularly as she was going through it. He was like, my wife is like a 2nd-degree black belt in Taekwondo.
Sure.
Or traditional karate. I can't remember which. She used to jog every day, 5 miles. And when she was pregnant with our kids, she would walk the 5 miles, but she would do it. And she couldn't even get up 10 feet to go to the restroom from our bed.
That's awful. That's awful.
Yeah, and so I think the elevation of Colorado definitely helped you out.
Yeah. I also have asthma.
Me too.
Yeah. So I have pretty bad asthma, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I do. I'm in really good shape now, and that seems to kind of hold it off. But if I get like a cold or things, I have to take my inhaler more and blah, blah, blah. But I also felt like, too, that when my husband had gotten it, I already had like so much stuff that I would treat my asthma that helped a bunch too, because I was like, oh, like here's an inhaler, here's albuterol, here's prednisone.
Yeah.
Yada, yada. So I don't know. I'm no doctor. I just get punched in the face. So I don't
Neither am I. I'm barely qualified to do this.
Yeah.
Kat.
Yeah.
I'm barely qualified
punch
to
people
do
in the face. So in fairness.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah.
I actually, it's 9/11, and for those who observe it, horrible day that happened. Again, different variations of what actually happened. I don't know. I wasn't there. I've never been to New York. I've been to OK City. I've seen that memorial. It's rough, right? But with that all being said, and I'm not, comparing. Not at all. Loss is loss is loss is loss is loss, no matter where or when it happens, no matter who commits it, right? But the fact of the matter is, I don't know, man. Like, just like you in Tiane, like love has to be in play somehow.
Yeah. Have you watched the new, there's a 9/11 documentary on Netflix?
No, I actually fell asleep to the one on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
Right? That was 2 nights ago, and then I fell asleep to the Malcolm X Muhammad Ali documentary on Netflix.
Right. So sleep a lot. The minute the TV's
Yeah.
on, you're just out, huh? Yeah. Well, it's actually pretty good, and it goes kind of into like the history of Al Qaeda in like the 80s and the 90s, and it was just kind of interesting to
Mhm.
see a different perspective. So
Yeah, no,
if
absolutely.
you're awake, you should watch that one.
I think after my nap because I think I posted about this very podcast. I think at midnight
Okay.
local time here in California,
Yeah.
and then we didn't have a definitive time, so I got up at 4:30
Yeah.
local time here in California, and we are doing it at 8:21 local time here in California,
Okay.
which is an hour ahead of you in Colorado in Mountain Time.
It's
So
early.
yeah, so I'm after this. This is one of the highlights of my day for sure. And then I'm probably gonna call my wife, who's in the other room later.
You
That's
call
gonna
it?
be a highlight of my day.
Okay.
My 13, almost 14-year-old, who also
Okay.
tested positive, but he was feeling good enough
Okay.
to run up an $80 charge to GameStop.
Oh, kids are they're just so great. They're so
Yeah,
respectful
you know why?
and
You know
kind.
why I don't care, Kat?
But
Because I might have 2 shares in the stock as well as some shares in AMC. So
okay.
to the fucking moon.
Sweet. Awesome.
Yeah. So he can watch all the bloody movies he wants. He can order all the damn GameStop he wants. He
Yeah.
can do all of the Roblox he wants because I got some shares in them.
Okay.
I'm watching UFC. I've got some shares in Endeavor.
Sweet.
Got some shares in WWE. I've
Cool.
got some shares in Viacom, Bellator's parent company.
Yep.
So yeah, let's do that to the moon, just like you in a couple weeks. So give me the deets, right? Because you were supposed to fight earlier in the year.
Yep.
You tested positive for COVID. Then supposed to have another fight in August.
Yep.
That falls through.
Yep.
So how did you find out about this fight in a couple weeks for LFA?
Yeah. So I was supposed to fight August 27th against Vanessa Demopoulos, actually.
Whoa, little monster! She's a friend.
Yes. Yeah. And the Friday before we were supposed to fight, she got pulled up. Congrats to her. She did great. And I told LFA, I was like, I want to fight. I'm going to stay in camp. I'm going to stay down. Like, you find me whoever, whenever, I don't care. And so they had tried to find me someone for August 27th, but nobody would take me on so quickly. And then we got the call, man, I think it's been like a week maybe, that I was going to fight Hillary Rose. September 24th. Yeah. So throwing down with Hillary Rose. I'm pumped. I think that she is extremely tough. I think she strikes really well. She's great on the ground. She's got good takedowns. She's just an all-around person. So I think she's going to be one of those people that are fun to be in there. Like, I love to like talk. I'm gonna like point at her and be like, like, can't try that again. And hopefully they'll have some kind of a fun fight, man. Like, I just want to throw down. I'm excited. I'm pumped.
Dude, it's crazy. I adore you. I adore Hillary.
Nice.
I adore Vanessa.
Yeah.
These are all names that I know.
Yeah.
Fights of yours, which I've watched.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's so weird how close this MMA community is, which I have to.
Many of us, though, right? I mean, there's not a ton of us in the grand scheme, right?
Yeah.
So now that everybody's kind of like, everybody's right here, and we're all kind of like battling it out, right? Like, who's better?
Yeah, 100%. Which, by the way, I'd be remiss not to mention your pretty prominent boxing tattoo, which
Yes.
which I believe is brilliant because one's a red glove,
Yep.
one's a blue glove,
Yep.
both corners
Yes.
of respective
Yeah.
either MMA or boxing
Yeah.
corners, essentially.
Absolutely. So my husband and I got the same tattoo. His is on his arm. And in it, here, I'll show you,
Oh, go for it.
is our gym name here as well. I'm like pointing to it oddly. Yeah. So we both got that about so we opened our gym in the location that we're in. We've been here for 5 years. And we are just about to find a larger space. We are out of space here. We need to grow and expand. So that's exciting too. Yeah. But I like boxing. I'm not a boxer. I would not say I have pro boxing fights. But boxing is not my thing.
Yeah.
But I do love to throw hands. So I was like, boxing gloves. Yeah, like, let's do this. I love it.
So, and congratulations to you and your husband
Thank you.
for obviously finding each other,
Yes.
finding
We're
yourselves in
like
fights.
soulmates, dude. It's the best.
Yeah.
He's like my coach, my best friend, my partner with my work. He's awesome.
Let's see if we can get that guy on this podcast.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
He's very blunt, though. He's going to be like a whole new kind of person to talk to.
I've had those.
He's hilarious.
I've had like pro-vaxxers, anti-vaxxers, pro-COVID, anti-COVID, pro-Trump, pro-Obama.
Well, there's everything out there. It's funny because as a gym owner, right, I work with a lot of people. And I am a personal trainer.
Yes.
So I do a lot of that. And when you're a personal trainer, you're basically being paid for people to just tell you all their problems, right? Like they just talk to you the whole time. And I hear it all. Like in one time, they'll be like, these fucking Trumpanites, like these motherfuckers. And then the next one is like, Trump is the best. And I'm just kind of like, cool, like whatever to everything. I just don't care. But yes, I completely understand.
Yeah, no. So like I said, I'd love to have him on.
Yeah.
But not putting the carriage before the horse. MMA is such a weird one, right?
Yeah.
And you say you love boxing,
yeah,
which I know you do, and you've competed in such. But just last weekend, we had the 18-year-old Mexican fighter,
yeah,
that went up to Canada, fought, died, and maybe it was too much hard sparring. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe it was, as somebody who lost his mom to a brain aneurysm, that may be true too.
Okay. Yeah.
It could be a failure of the commission.
Yeah.
It could be a failure of the referee. And then to make matters worse, in her corner was her husband.
Yeah.
And it's a tragic, tragic tale. Right?
It's horrible. It's horrible. I mean, for me, the only sport I've done pro kickboxing, I've done pro boxing, I've done pro MMA. The only sport that I have been truly like knocked out in is boxing. And I don't even remember the last round starting. And like the amount of damage in boxing that you take to the head is like, it is second to none. And whenever we spar boxing, I hate wearing head stuff. But with boxing, I wear head stuff because that's where 90% of the punches are going. And like boxers don't have to get like kicked. So the way that they can like plant their feet and they throw with power, right? The whole time. So literally your brain has to just be sloshing around all over the place. And I mean, it's a very intense sport in its own way too. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a weird one, right? Because I dabble in both combat sports and pro wrestling,
Yep.
which I think pro wrestling should be considered. If like Terry Funk or Dory Funk,
Okay.
grew up 20 years or 30 years after the fact, I think they would be MMA fighters. If there was money in the UFC, Kurt Angle wouldn't have gone to the WWE. He would have went to the UFC, right? After 96 Olympics. Hell, the gentleman who just won the Olympic gold medal in wrestling, he just signed. He just signed to the WWE.
Yeah.
Yeah, Shayna Baszler is there.
Yeah.
At one point, all four horsewomen, Rhonda, Marina Shafir, Jessamine Duke, and Shayna, they were all signed to WWE contracts. Marina Shafir's husband is an active wrestler in their developmental brand, right? So it to me, I think they're all there, right? But like in NFL, we had like the countless players, most prominently to me, because I'm Polynesian, Junior Seau, shooting himself in the chest and wanting them to study his brain.
Yep.
In pro wrestling, Chris Benoit, horrible tragedy, right? Murder, suicide, and everything like that. And then his dad had the wherewithal to basically give his brain to the Sports Legacy Institute, which, ironically enough, is run by a Harvard graduate named Christopher Nowinski, who was signed to the WWE and had to quit wrestling and everything, combat sports, because he had suffered too many concussions.
Yeah.
Right? So Benoit, it has been proven that he was in his late 30s, early 40s, but he had the brain trauma of a 70-something-year-old Alzheimer's patient.
Yeah.
Female Alzheimer's patient.
Yeah.
It literally changed his gender. As big as he was, he might have had his testosterone and estrogen running neck and neck with each other.
That's crazy.
Crazy, right? Then like there's like that Anthony Lionheart Smith, that fight, right?
Yes.
And he got mollywopped, right? I kind of never want him to fight again, and he's fighting next week in a main event.
Yeah.
And I was there with one of my friends who's a fighter, who I might have mentioned earlier, for UFC 209, with the disastrous Wonder Boy, for us as fans, Wonder Boy versus Woodley fights. I've said Woodley needs to retire since UFC 209, right? So, and then hell, we got Anderson Silva versus Tito Ortiz, who came in 5 pounds overweight, and then Evander Holyfield versus TRT Vitor.
Huh. Yeah, like why? Why are you still fighting? Why? Why are you doing it? Yeah. I think though that MMA is starting to evolve and how we train and how we take care of our brain. So like my husband fought before me long time ago. And I remember that they used to hard spar almost every fucking day. And we just don't do that anymore. Like we take better care of each other. And like, I also think too that a lot of it is after you've been hit in the head, it's that you fully let your brain recover. And like going back early can be so damaging and hurting, which is hard, right? Because you're like, I feel fine. I want to go back in. Like I'm tough, right? But you can't tough out having trauma to your brain. You just can't.
Yeah.
You can be as much as you want.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I sound like this, and I grew up in Inglewood, California. You know, the Inglewood always not up to no good, and bloods and crips and everything. That was absolutely true, especially when I moved here in '95, right? But I defended myself. You know, a lot of people, right? Styles make fights. Jiu-jitsu versus striking. Muay Thai versus catch wrestling. All those, right?
Absolutely.
I wrestled WWE style. I would do like Mankind and pull somebody's shirt over their head and hit them with a chair and whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah. Sick.
like it wasn't good, and I probably put some people in the hospital. I know I put some people in the hospital, and I'm not a badass, not at all.
Sure.
But I got off because my mom worked as one of the assistants to the mayor of the city of Inglewood. So when the
Oh,
cops came, they were like, "We know your mom. She scares us. Get the fuck away."
you're just trouble, man.
Yeah, and I've been
Trouble.
on the other side of it too, where they were like, "Oh, whose car is this?" and been held at gunpoint and pissed my pants.
Holy moly.
Yeah, both
That
sides
was
of it. Or
extremely.
you look like a gangster. I was 9 wearing a Sonic the Hedgehog t-shirt, and it was the same Sonic the Hedgehog t-shirt that when my mom sent me to the store to
Okay.
get her cigarettes, Dunhill Reds from 7-Eleven 3 blocks away, I didn't know I was in a red neighborhood.
Oh, shit.
And kids no older than probably about 3 or 4 years older than I,
Yeah. Yeah.
gun to my head,
Yeah.
give me your money.
Man, that's so crazy. So my husband is from the East Coast, and he has
Yeah,
like very kind of that same. He was in a not great area, and like I'm from Kansas, like I'm from the farm. Like nothing happened to me. I had a really nice, great childhood. Like everybody was nice to me. I never got fucking like bullied. I'm like, what the hell is happening to your guys' childhoods? Like, what is this? It's funny.
yeah, it's so weird. And I don't quantify it. I see people's Black Lives Matter. I see people's Blue Lives Matter.
Right.
I know you choose a job,
Sure.
even though most people don't think you do.
Yeah.
You don't choose the race. You don't choose where you're born,
Yeah.
who you're
Absolutely.
born to. But I also don't know how, like, a movement like
Yeah.
Black Lives Matter
Yeah.
or Me Too became an organization
Yeah.
where if somebody fucked up or fell out of step, that they cut a check to said organizations, and all is well with the world.
Right.
I don't understand that.
I don't
Yeah,
understand most things happening.
yeah, and I saw it even like 5 years before with the Occupy movement here in LA. They
Okay.
had the Occupy movement, and they, you know, demonstrated outside of LA City Hall and pitched tents and everything like that. And nobody knew what they were fighting for. You had single moms on welfare. You had homeless, displaced vets
Yep.
whose the system had failed.
Yep.
You had regular homeless people, people that didn't want to get jobs, frustrated college students that got fucking kicked out of school because they couldn't pay tuition or their scholarship ran out. And 3 days into it, the fucking leaders of the Occupy movement that was supposed to be grassroots, fight against the system,
Yeah.
fight against the man, but let's organize on our iPads and internet, right?
Sweet.
But the leaders and organizers of such movements were at like a fucking Beverly Hills hotel going, what the fuck? This got too big. 3 days later, they tapped out.
Nice. Nice. That's helpful.
That's the world, man. That's
That's
the world.
that's
But kind of in fight, all right? And I kind of got off topic, but not putting the wagon before the horse. How did you, Kat, get involved with combat sports?
well, um, so my husband was fighting, and he was amateur. Just kind of. So he actually got into it because he was drunk with his friend who was a pro kickboxer, and they did a bet, and the bet was if you lost, Steven had to take his first fight, and he was like, okay, cool, like fine, whatever. And so he started to train, and at the time we only had one car. We were sharing our car. So I was having to drive to the gym anyway to go and get him, and I was hanging out there anyway. I was kind of fat, kind of like unhealthy, out of shape, not really doing much. I was just kind of like, I'm the fighter's girlfriend, which is fine too, right? There's nothing wrong with that. But and then one day I was like, I kind of want to hop in. Like, that might be kind of fun. And so I just hopped in. I started to practice. I wasn't very good. And actually, the first time that Steven and I put on boxing gloves and we're sparring very lightly, because he's always been like extremely good at like, he's huge. I'm not. He like barely like tapped my nose, and I like threw my gloves down, and I was like, "You're mean. I can't do this. I don't like being punched." And I started crying, and I stormed off the mat. And I came back the next day, and I was like, "All right, like I'm being dramatic and like emotional." And then I started to train, and honestly, like I just fell in love. I've never been. Not that I've never been super good at anything, but like I played softball growing up, and now that I'm older, like I love softball, but softball is not a sport compared to MMA. Like they're just not even comparable. And I really felt like I haven't really played sports. Like I've never really done anything. I didn't run track. I didn't play basketball. I didn't do anything. I dropped out of high school because I liked to have a job. I've always liked to just I love having a job. I work so hard. I always have. And so finally, like I found my calling. Like this is what I'm good at. I love when they like say my name and I'm all like, yeah, that's me, motherfucker. Like
Yeah.
I love that like there's a crowd. I love that everybody has to like watch me. And honestly, it has helped me grow as a human being. Like I watched my husband through his career and he grew up finally, right? Then like he grew the fuck up. And when you're fighting, like every day is its own challenge. And I'm getting good at just being uncomfortable and striving through that. And I don't know, like it's just helped apply everywhere else. And actually, I'm going to go off on a whole other tangent here. My daughter, who's 12, her name is Olive. She just joined cross country. And I run every day. So I was like, yes, like we can run together. Like I have this running partner. I like pictured all this great stuff. So me being the pro that I am, every time that I have asked my daughter, like, do you want to go on a run with me? She's like, ugh. Like, I hate running. I don't want to go. And her laziness is driving me insane. I'm trying to not be too, like, train hard and, like, train every day. Because, like, I get that that's not for everyone. But she's just so teenager right now about running and training. And it's driving me crazy. I don't know.
No, it's totally a thing, right? Because, like, my 13, almost 14-year-old, he'll be 14 on the 28th.
That same age, yeah.
Yeah.
They're horrible.
Not athletic.
Yeah.
Right? Not athletic at all.
Okay.
Now, genealogy-wise,
okay.
So my maternal grandfather in Fiji, he was the first broadcaster in all of Fiji.
Wow.
Look at this guy. Okay?
That's cool. Yeah.
And then my dad, who is African descended a slave, or in layman's terms, American black, right? He was 6'4", but a musician and a scholar.
Oh, that's cool.
Whereas all of his other brothers were football players. Like my Uncle Quincy, who just passed away over the summer. This is in the 70s, right? They're playing the rival school in football, and my Uncle Quincy tackled this guy, his rival.
Okay.
Right? And everybody cheered, and then everybody was silent. And then the coach was like, Woods, get your fucking ass off the field. And he was like, what? Like, I just did the fucking sack. Like, what the fuck, right? Like, I sacked. And he was like, get off the fucking field and come to me. So, like a good high school student does, goes, and the coach says, look at your leg. Well, my uncle tackled the fucking guy so hard This is the 70s. Metal cleats. The metal cleat
Oh,
was
no.
in his fucking thigh.
Oh, no. Ow. That makes my thigh hurt. Thanks for that horrible story.
Sorry. Remember, it's just a leg kick in training.
No, it's not a leg kick in training. It is a metal cleat in your leg. That's very
I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm weird. And so, my dad, scholar,
okay.
I'm 5'9".
Okay. Yeah.
I'm the runt of the litter. To
Oh.
make it even more quantifiable, right? There's a guy. He's Samoan and black, right? But his father is Canadian black from like Nova Scotia in Canada.
Okay.
His name is Dwayne. His last name is Johnson. He might have a moniker of The Rock.
Sweet.
He's a fucking animal.
Yes.
Similar genealogy.
You're like, what the hell?
And I never met a fight that I didn't like. None of my cousins, nobody.
Okay.
My wife doesn't like it.
Okay.
My fucking kids don't like it. I buy obscene shit
Yep.
like saunas and like waste. I didn't say wasted because I got pretty good training, but I'm a no stripe white belt. But every time I got a tax return, that is when I started jiu-jitsu again.
Sweet. Yeah. Cool.
6 months, 2-a-days, 7 days a week,
There you
open
go.
mats.
Okay.
And
Open
then
mats, though? Like only
Yes.
open mats? You can't get
Yes.
better at just open mats. That's not
Yes.
how that works.
And not do it again for 2 years after the
Sweet.
6 months.
Yeah. Fucking white belts, man.
Dude, you know what? As a pro wrestling fan,
Okay.
I want my purple belt for no other reason that was Donatello's color, even though like my favorite Ninja Turtle was Michelangelo,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
But purple belt,
Yep.
there's this organization called the North American Grappling Association,
Okay. Not
better
good.
known as NAGA.
Yep. Not good.
And at purple belts
Yep.
and higher, you don't get fucking medals. I never wanted to be an Olympian. You don't get swords. I never wanted to be a fucking samurai. Okay? You
I
get a
want a sword.
fucking belt.
Yeah.
Yes. Like all my wrestling heroes of Bret Hart and all that shit, man.
Yeah, I have some belts. They're
It's
dope.
different.
It's cool. A belt is cool. It's even cooler to say, like, I fought somebody for this belt that I
Yes.
don't wear that hangs on this wall because it's my fucking belt.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's something that you could put on your mantle or give to your grandkids as a fucking heirloom, which I have one.
Actually, one of our first belts sat in a basket for a while of laundry. So, in fairness, sometimes it happens. Hey, man, I'm busy. I sometimes don't have time to like hang up stuff. I can barely do laundry, okay? Like,
That's funny because I've bought probably $1,200 worth of wrestling replica belts.
yeah. Okay.
I might be the owner of Brooke Mayo, Bellator veteran,
Yep.
amateur title.
Cool.
Like this is, and I'm a purveyor of women's MMA, women's pro wrestling, because in many ways, women's MMA is where dudes MMA was in the early to mid 90s,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And if you look at Invicta, hint, hint, you're from Kansas, they fight at fucking Scottish Rite Temple,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
The finishing rate in Invicta,
Yeah.
right, is probably better than the UFC and Bellator,
Sure.
card for card,
Sure.
because there's so much to prove. You put a female fight anywhere, amateur,
Yeah.
BKFC, one championship, MMA, boxing, whatever, pro
Yeah.
wrestling. Usually, that's the one that people that are going to their car, if they attend live, or when they switch off the TV, when the card is over, that's the one that they're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. So like for LFA with Tiani, After the card was over, the crowd was just like, you ladies were the best. Like, what? Like, your guys' pace was amazing. I was like, yeah. Like, but I have always found that we keep a higher pace usually anyway. We're very like, fuck you for being in here with me. Like, I'm offended. I love it. I love it.
No, and and you're fighting for LFA.
Yeah.
And it's funny to me, right? Because if you follow LFA, you're fighting strawweight, right?
Yes.
Yes, because Vanessa Demopoulos, right?
Yep.
Vanessa Demopoulos was the first strawweight LFA champion, right? Now, if you follow that timeline, it's kind of crazy. It's kind of precarious, right?
Sure. Absolutely.
So basically, I was there at the last LFA before COVID.
Okay.
When Vanessa fought, right? Vanessa Demopoulos. I can't remember, but there was an interview on the Free Admission Media page, YouTube page, of me basically interviewing Vanessa at the OC Fairgrounds, which was crazy because I literally pulled her from her family. She was so in disarray and injured that she was literally leaning on me. Wow. We walked past Ashley Evans Smith and Carla Esparza.
A fucking warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and they're like, who the fuck is this guy?
Yeah.
Trying to hit on her? Like, what the fuck? Right?
Carrying her.
We do this interview. She's literally fucking leaking out of her eye. Right? And then we do like a minute and a half. Then we repeat that, but reverse, right? Walking past the crowd and everything. And I tell her sister, please take her to the fucking hospital and you call me. Yeah. I still have her sister's number till this day.
You're so sweet.
No, but these are humans.
Go to the hospital.
This is somebody's daughter. Sure. This is somebody's, sure. Son or whatever. Absolutely. And just like you granted me time. You didn't have to. You didn't have to fucking answer a DM. You didn't have to do anything. Sure. You could have just fucking LFA, here we go. You didn't have to do Mom's Basement MMA, which fucking follow them on all their socials, subscribe to them. I love them. Tremendous. But you are. So I think we should give you that respect, especially when shit is bad. I think, so you could be a pro wrestler. Like a fucking underneath, like job, get fucking beat on TV 300 times.
Okay.
0-300, right? Okay. People will fucking remember you. You put out merch, they'll buy your shit.
Yeah, no, that's true.
They see you at an autograph session, $50 autograph.
Yeah.
Right?
No.
You never have to tell a pro wrestler to get on every social media. You never have to tell a pro wrestler set up a merchandise store.
Yeah, that's fair.
Right?
Totally fair. Yeah.
But fighters, it's a little bit harder because it's just fight. That's right? True. And your coaches, you're not going to get any media training from your coaches because they don't give a shit about any of that. Right?
Sure. Absolutely.
Your managers might, but then they're like, oh, fuck it. We'll just take it over.
Sure.
And it seems disingenuous to your audience, right?
Yeah.
And then if you lose a fight or if you have a bad showing, not in your eyes, not in the judge's eyes, not in your coach's eyes, in their eyes, they'll block you on Twitter.
Yep.
They'll unfollow you on. Yes.
They're ruthless.
Ruthless, right?
That's okay. That's okay.
Yes, and you know what? I was talking to my friend who runs the YouTube channels of pretty prominent wrestling personalities. Yeah. And he's trying to get a show off the ground, which is MMA based. And I told him the same thing. MMA fans are fickle, very fickle. The filthy casuals moniker
are the best, though. They're the best. The best fans ever in all the land.
They're the ones who buy the fucking pay-per-views because the diehards don't have any money for it.
Yep.
Right? Yep. They're the ones that are like, you're the best, or just bleed.
Yeah.
Stand them up. Grab them by the crotch. twist their nipples. Those guys and gals, drunk as shit. The fucking liquor quota of the venue, whew, through the roof. Amateur pro, UFC, whatever, through the roof because of the filthy casuals, right? But they will leave you. They will leave you, right? And that's why I attributed. I was like, there's a lot of wrestling, there's a lot of MMA content, and there's a generation that horribly doesn't know Pat Miletich, that doesn't know Herb Dean. They see him every weekend on their TV screens, but not know his name. Or Jason Mayhem Miller, who just got into some trouble with domestic violence. Ugh, right? But they all watched Bully Beatdown as a kid. Oh, there she is. Hi, I'm According to Woods. And I'm talking to Kathryn Paprocki, who will be fighting for LFA in a few short weeks. That'll be live on UFC Fight Pass, which you can find for $9.99 a month on UFCFightPass.com or whatever. It's been so long since I fucking logged on or whatever, or purchased it. And yes, I still subscribe to UFC Fight Pass. ESPN Plus, I'm subscribed to that. Hulu, WWE, or Peacock Network for WWE. Paramount Plus for Bellator, which had a fight last night. So that's it. Oh, there's Kat again.
I don't know what I did. I'm sorry.
That's all right. That's fine. You're back. You're back.
I'm back.
So any rebuttals on the filthy casuals versus the diehard MMA folk?
I don't know. I feel like as an MMA fighter, I want to put on a fantastic show. So like that's what I want people to remember about me. Like, you might not think I'm going to necessarily be the better fighter, but I'm going to put on a war every time. And like, ultimately, I don't know, like, I have some really amazing people that are my fans and have been following. And some people are just kind of like here for the fun. And if I don't do well, they're not there for me. But I don't know. I just want to be known for, like, whenever Kat fights, like, it's going to be a war regardless. I don't know.
You literally have Rocky in your fucking last name. That's got to mean something.
Yeah.
So we talked a lot about fight, absolutely, but Kat, away from the gym, away from the personal training, away from the husband, away from the daughter, what are you doing? Are you watching movies? Do you have a favorite movie, favorite song, favorite album that you're listening to? I recommend John Mayer's Sob Rock, but that's just me.
Okay. All right. Man, I really like music. If I wasn't fighting, I think I would still be a dancer. I would dance. I love to dance. I'm not good at it, but I can dance. I'm really getting into 90s hip hop, actually.
Ooh.
I'm pretty young. I was born in 93.
Okay.
So I'm just figuring out how much I love the 90s music. And I've been doing like East Coast stuff. And now I'm on to like Southern 90s music, which is its own flavor too. I don't know, like, I just like music. For my last fight, I really got into like, it's like metal, but they like scream a lot.
Okay, like they could be, if it's like a guttural, that's metal, right?
Okay, yeah.
Which Josh Barnett loves.
Okay, so I get why people are into that. Like, in fairness, I have to be in like a specific mood. However, that shit can be the right mood for you in the right time. That's for sure. I like to watch movies. I'm not a super TV person, but after a long day, I like to just relax. I don't like drama. I'm not a drama person. It really bothers me in TV how people react to things so dramatized. So I have a hard time with like regular TV. I'm definitely more of like a crime documentary type person. Like Forensic Files, I could have just playing all the time, every day. And if I ever need to murder my husband, I have many, many ways to do so. So, right? Like, see?
I heard nothing. I'm not an accomplice.
Probably the wrong platform to say that.
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah.
I'm not an accomplice. I love you. I love your husband, but I'm not showing up in court in Colorado.
Well,
fuck that.
Maybe now you have to.
Yeah. Because you know what? I would have to go through Utah, and I can't grab a drink. So
Utah is different, man. I fought pro kickboxing there, and I don't know. I am sure there are some lovely, wonderful people there. However, the majority of the people that I met seemed like real judgmental jerkholes. So I was like, man, I don't like this place.
Hey, so total disclosure, I grew up a Buddhist, a Nichiren Buddhist, right? And we centered around the lotus flower, right?
Yeah.
Because the lotus flower, if you guys know, it doesn't grow in freshwater ponds.
Yep.
It grows in the murkiest, shittiest part of the pond, right?
Yeah.
And then when it blooms, right? That's the height of its life, but it's also dying. And it's giving off seeds to other lotus flower. So when we see them all beautiful and we want to take those Instagram pictures, that's a dead fucking plant, folks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it symbolizes life and death occur in the same realm, right?
Yeah.
Same hospital anywhere, everywhere. Babies are born, people are dying.
Yeah.
They're being given to the mother or father and placed in the incubator while people are being placed in the morgue in body bags.
Sure.
Those things happen simultaneously.
Absolutely.
Now, I see that to say, right? Places like Iowa.
Okay.
You got some of the best wrestlers that this country has ever produced.
True.
Right?
True.
You got Pat Miletich, which is here nor there because of January 6th. Okay.
Yeah.
You got Slipknot.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
Love Slipknot. Corey Taylor's new mask scares me, but he's also a pro wrestling fan.
Okay.
And he sampled a lot of the shit for the WWE. Stone Sour Bother is one of my favorite fucking songs. Cool. Right? So that comes out of that. And then going back to, Utah. Yes, you got the elders, the Mormons, and all that, right?
Yes, sure.
But the Used, especially their first album.
Okay.
The first album of the Used is one of the best albums of the last 20 years.
Okay.
When that album came out, I had in my Discman, yes, I'm dating myself, right? In my Discman, it was Hot Hot Heat.
Okay.
The Killers' Hot Fuss.
Ooh, The Killers. Okay.
The Darkness, Permission to Land.
Okay.
Dashboard Confessional, A Mark, a Mission, a Brand, a Scar.
Okay.
And maybe and then it was like Jimi Hendrix's Greatest Hits and Stevie Ray Vaughan's first album.
Sweet.
I'm weird. I'm a weirdo.
I like it. I like it a lot. So, funny that you bring up. So, I do like energy healing. I actually, I went and got certified in Reiki.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm like an energy healer. I'm all into energy. I can feel it in the earth and me and so that I don't know why that came to my mind, but it did.
No.
So now you know that about.
I think it's relative, right? It's like, here we go. I've got an incense. I got it for my wife.
Okay.
But it's like a little Buddha person.
Oh, that's beautiful.
You know?
Yeah.
And even though I don't practice, like I'm weird. right? Because I got baptized as a Buddhist
Okay.
as a kid.
I didn't know that Buddhists get baptized.
Different sects, just like
Okay.
Mormon, and then there's apostolics, and then the
Okay.
Christians, and the
Okay.
Methodists, and whatever, right? It's
Yep.
just it's same deal.
Okay.
Like, there's whatever the fuck that Steven Seagal does,
Yep.
but then my mom and the sect that I did was
Yep.
more Patrick Duffy, Step by Step, or Tina Turner.
Okay.
Like in What's Love Got to Do with It, the song,
Okay.
if you listen to the words, she goes, "If I chant in the days, I read it someplace."
Okay.
She's she's basically saying that she chants.
Oh,
If
okay.
you watch the movie,
Okay.
one of her backup dancers and singers is the one who they call it shakabuku,
Okay.
but introduced her to the practice, and you could hear her, Angela Bassett playing Tina Turner, go Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, which is the basic
Cool.
fucking chant of Nichiren Buddhism, Soka Gakkai International, SGI, and the whole deal.
Awesome.
Now, I apply a lot of it, but I don't practice anymore.
Yes.
Then when I met my wife,
Okay.
she's a Christian. I got baptized in a Christian church.
Cool.
Don't really whatever.
Eh.
But if it's you, it's you.
Cool.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think Bruce Buffer, legendary voice of the UFC,
yeah.
said it best on his podcast. He was just like, I'm not particularly religious. I've studied martial arts my entire life. I've lived in Malibu for almost the entirety of my life.
Okay.
I didn't know my brother, my big brother, Bruce Buffer, not Bruce, Michael Buffer.
Yep.
Right? They're half brothers, same dad, different mom.
Yep.
The Let's Get Ready to Rumble guy.
Yep.
But Bruce is actually Michael's agent now.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
One of Bruce's claims to fame is he basically got that Let's Get Ready to Rumble game.
Yep.
From the early 2000s.
Yep.
That was all Bruce.
That's cool.
Bruce is a millionaire.
Yeah.
Like Bruce and Rogan
might
rival Dana White in terms of net worth.
Really?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yes, it's very fascinating.
That is
but
cool.
He says when people are like, "Oh, God bless you," he goes, "Bless you, bless you," because whatever you subscribe to,
believe in, yep.
Let that be for you.
Cool. Yeah.
And this is a genuine interaction between you and I, as humans, as terrestrial bodies, but also celestial bodies.
Yeah. So my husband was born and raised Jewish.
Okay.
And he's non-practicing.
Yeah.
But he used to have a really hard time during Christmas time. Like not because he, as a young kid, his mom would have to like explain to, like we don't do Christmas, we're Jewish. And now he's all like, and you have a great Christmas too. Like, he's just like, whatever you are, like, cool. Happy holidays. Like, he's all cute. So, yeah.
It's so funny, right? Because, and that's a hot topic too, right? Like Christmas versus happy holidays. I remember every job that I ever worked.
Okay.
You have to say happy holidays.
Yeah.
So I would fucking stretch it out and go, happy non-denominational, whatever you subscribe to.
Sure. Yeah. Like, I hope you're having a great fucking day. And you continue to have a great fucking day, regardless of what that day means to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Michael Richards has caught heat for some of the comments that he said at I think it was the Laugh Factory.
Okay.
He used the N-word quite a few times, right?
Okay. Yeah.
But he said in Seinfeld that he celebrates Festivus.
Okay.
And when Jerry and the rest of the gang said, "What's Festivus?" It's for the rest of us.
Oh, that's kind of cute.
I think, and those words were coming out of Larry David, who, through Curb Your Enthusiasm, saved a guy from being convicted of murder. There's a documentary about that.
Oh, yes. Is
Yes,
that the one where he was at the ballpark and
yes,
he was taping? I saw that one. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
Crime
yes.
documentaries.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%, right?
that's my
And
thing.
then one of my favorite movies of all time that really sums up life,
Okay.
especially of principle, is Sour Grapes.
Which one is that?
Look it up, right? It doesn't have too many people of name.
Okay.
Um, it's two cousins,
Okay.
one like a pretty affluent doctor, played by a guy named Steven Weber, who used to be on this show called Wings on NBC, right
Okay.
around the time of news radio, I think predating Friends, right? And
Okay.
then the other guy played Jay Leno in a spoof called I think it was called The Late Shift. And it was
Okay.
a spoof on the rivalry between Jay Leno and David Letterman trying to fill in for Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So
So
it's called Sour Grapes.
it's Sour Grapes, yes. So
Okay.
we've got an hour, and I know you got shit to do.
Thank you.
So I want you to get some plugs out of the way, some sponsors, some people who have helped you
Okay.
personally and professionally
Yeah.
in this season or any time in your life. So take as long as you like. Let's go.
Awesome. Well, first off, my coach, who happens to be my husband. He's a horrible coach, but a great husband. No, I'm just kidding. Man, he's been great. He is fantastic. My whole gym here, we are like a small family run gym. My kids are here, my dogs are here. Everybody is fantastic. I am just so thankful for my whole team. Genesis, I have been going over there and sparring. They have been just so like open and great and fantastic over there for me. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just excited. I hope you all can see me fight. I love it. I'm happy
Yes.
there.
And you got any sponsors that are paying you to do the thing?
I don't do sponsors. I'm just winging it right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I think. Okay. I'm
I
gonna
should
be.
get sponsors. I know that. I'm busy, man. I have
Okay.
like a gym I'm running.
Okay. I'm gonna hit you with a proposition, and hopefully you answer my DM.
Okay.
But last, but very not least, as people follow you as you march to the LFA Octagon
Yes.
in a couple weeks,
Yep.
where can people find you, your exploits and tangents on the media of social?
Yeah. On Instagram, you can find me at Kat Paprocki. On Facebook, you can find me at Connigan Cat, and Connigan stands for Queen. And that's about all that I am. I'm not super present online. Maybe I should add to that too. But those are two places I'm constantly on there, like training and sparring and in cute clothing. So check me out.
Hell yes.
Thank
And
you so much.
yes, and definitely on the Instagram. I linked it in the bio of
Cool.
this very video, so you can check it out there. Also, if you haven't already done so, I warmly encourage you to go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. I mean, Kat, you're subscribed, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Hell yes. So be
Yeah.
like Kat, the
Yeah.
badass she is, and go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the According to Woods podcast. But if you don't believe me or you don't believe Kat, and I don't know why you wouldn't, here's former MMA fighter under the name Julia Ho, and now she goes by in professional wrestling Zeta Zhang, who competed for the first WWE Mae Young Classic, to help convince you.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe to According to Woods YouTube.